is upon us across the land as countrymen and countrywomen, boys and girls, vent collective emotions over hardship in the land. As the protest gathers steam, essential services like banks and petrol stations have become paralyzed in many centers across the country. The protest became violent in Kano, with hoodlums taking advantage of the situation to loot shops and offices. But in Lagos here, the police were constrained to fire tear gas canisters at protesters who in their hundreds stepped out of line. Now, pictures don't tell lie, or do they? Let's share some of the moments with you. Let's go. Come with me.
Just be careful.
Ruwan zafi, ga ruwan zafi, 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 ruwan zafi a gidan gwamnatin jihar Kano. Ruwan zafi inda ga wani can ya zauna a ƙasa ya ce sai dai a kashe shi. Ga wasu mutane sun zauna a ƙasa sun ce sai dai a kashe su. Ga su mutane sun ki guduwa sun ce sai dai a kashe su. Ga kuma ruwan zafi na ci gaba da sauka akan mutane. Mutane suna samun guri.
Well, pictures, gentlemen. Pictures from this last one from Kano. Meanwhile, let's tell you that the Kano State Governor, Abba Yusuf, has had no choice but to impose a 24-hour curfew. We'll share that with you as well. Let's go there.
Emergency State Security Council meeting that was held in my office, and with the attendance of all the security heads of the security agencies in the state. It was collectively decided that 24-hour curfew should be put in place in order to prevent further looting and vandalization of shops, mosques, public buildings, as well as indiscriminate killing and maiming of innocent citizens. On this note, therefore, and based on the powers conferred on me by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as the Chief Security Officer of the state, I have therefore declared 24 hours curfew in the state with immediate effect. Fellow citizens, gentlemen of the press, let me say that this action is made to ensure full protection of your...
Yeah, you see, nobody saw this coming. Kano, the state of the Talakawas, became violent, and this is the first of the proposed 10-day protest.
Well, can we say nobody saw this coming? I doubt it.
That it was going to be violent to a situation where the governor is declaring a 24-hour curfew.
You see, the issue about protest is this. Protest is a message of discontent.
Okay.
And when you have a message of discontent, depending on who is even passing across that message, that is what will determine what you see. You can see a clear difference, for example, in the protest in the southwest part of the country, and that's in the northern part of the country. It's quite, you showed a lot of clips here.
Yeah.
We saw what was going on in Ojota and other parts of Lagos, for example. You see that people were gathered together, but it's not in a violent manner. However, in these other northern parts of the country, because of the level of poverty in that part of the country, because of the level of education among the lower cadre,
the Talakawas.
The Talakawas. So the only language such people hear is whatever is passed across to them. They don't really, I'm sorry to say, they cannot sit down to really reason their actions carefully. And I'm talking about these Talakawas. And you could see that in Kano, for example, they've already started looting. The digital center of the National Communication Center Commission was already looted. So you ask yourself, what are you asking for and what actions?
Is looting part of the
are you taking? But then, if you remember, and I do not mean to disparage or insult anybody, if you go to the north, for example, I've experienced it before. If you go to a restaurant and you are served your food and you get up, for example, that you want to go and wash your hand, before you come back, somebody will have carried your food. You get it? And you dare not complain. What does that suggest to you? It suggests that these people are hungry.
Wow.
They are very hungry. And in what language do you think the hungry person will understand?
Yeah.
So immediately they hear about protest. To them, it's an opportunity to loot, to steal, and to do different kinds of things. So that is why I said, for me, in that part of the country, I couldn't rule it out.
Okay.
And I don't even know, I think it's better that the governor has already imposed a curfew, because you can't imagine what will take place.
Yeah, BC, you'd be surprised that before Mayor and I came here, we talked about 1989, SAP riot, talked about 1993, the June 12 Wahala, prominent here, but largely quiet up there in the north.
Yeah, because let me start by saying that protest is a right entrenched in the Constitution.
Okay.
So nobody has any problem with people protesting. Some of us, our own argument is that we must not allow what happened 4 years ago during NSAS to repeat itself when Lagos lost trillions of naira and we're still suffering that, that problem. So let me start by saying that I want to commend the governor of Lagos State and the security agencies in Lagos for what they've done. They've done wonderfully well. You know,
the CP came to Ojota here.
Yes, because they've done wonderfully well. They'll be able to contain it. They did, different strategies, met with different people. Because this protest, there are people, civil liberties organizations, and then some other people that you need to engage with. And by the time you can convince some of them, then you'll be able to just take the fire out of that, take the petrol out of the fire. And they'll be able to do that. And then the court judgment that they got, asking the protesters to be confined to Ojota, it's also a master stroke, because you'll be able to monitor them. And that's what they did. They monitored them. And we didn't have any problem in Lagos. I want to commend them for that.
Yeah.
But I also want to criticize the governor of Kano State. What happened in Kano is failure of leadership. When some governors were making provisions to protect their state, the governor of Kano State was playing politics. And he has now realized that, because he was saying, oh, he supports protests and people who have the right to protest and all that. And he has seen the repercussion, because millions of money...
apparently, he didn't see this coming.
He didn't see it coming, because you see, the problem with protests is that there is no way it will not be hijacked if it's not properly monitored. Because, like she said, people are hungry. So when there's a protest, they see it as an avenue to vent their hunger, and it becomes we and them. They look at it as the poor versus the rich, or the comfortable. So they look to people with shops, they loot those shops, not minding that those people don't work for government. And they are individuals. You understand? But that is the way of protest. So you cannot be sure what the end of a protest will be.
Yeah.
So it's always better to monitor it. And that is why they were because if we had not done that in Lagos, imagine, it just takes time. Immediately it goes out of hand, some people will now catch in and try to do that. Secondly, you will look at it that politics is also being played. If you remember during NSAS, a lot of southern parts of the country were burning, the north was calm.
Including this station.
That's what I'm saying. Was attacked. The north was calm. Now, there are a lot of politicians from the north.
So the shoe is in the other leg.
Yes, because now you have a southern president. You have some people who do not, for whatever reason, do not agree with him. And because I tell people, when the masses on their own do not have what it takes to do anything. Even revolutions all over the world, from French Revolution down, it is the elites that will sit down and decide that, oh, we want a change, or we don't agree with this. And then they will now mobilize the masses to do what they want.
Yeah.
So those masses that you are seeing, there are some people behind who are manipulating them to say, go on. If you ask some of these people, some of them may not even know what they were protesting for.
I know that Dr. Dejifat Folutile would recall that a South American country, Venezuela, when it was announced that President Maduro won the election,
yes,
protests erupted.
Yes, because the opposition.
Spontaneous.
Yes,
spontaneous. That was spontaneous.
Yeah,
that was spontaneous. Of course, I agree with.
No, when he talked about the elite,
I agree with him that you can't get any of these things done without some people being at the background, and that was why I talked about the message that is being communicated.
So
apparently,
the messenger.
And the message being communicated here in the southern part of the country is different from the message being communicated in the other side of the... You are using your present problem to achieve a purpose. So what can appeal to the poor is hunger.
Okay.
So whoever is fanning that fire will talk about hunger. And if you see, you could notice that in fact they talk more about this protest in the northern part of the country this time around more than any other part of the country. As a matter of fact, the southeast is silent.
Southeast, interestingly, peaceful at a time like this.
Yeah, because for two reasons. One, the Ohaneze, which is like the cultural group that speaks for the Igbos, came out and said they are not part of it.
Okay.
And then a lot of different Igbo groups and associations also disassociated, because when you look at it, they are also losers and that kind of thing. They have a lot of shops that will be looted, and during NSAS, they lost a lot of money too.
They did.
So they were not part of it. And that is also due to the fact that there was engagement from government and to be able to convince them where there's no need for this protest. And that's why I say it's the failure of leadership in Kano, because you should be able to know that when you allow people to protest and you say you don't care, let them go and protest, they have the right to do that, and you don't monitor it, it will always get out of hand.
Okay, so it's important at this point to remind governors, BC and Mayor, that government exists for the benefit of the citizens and not the other way around.
I even want to state that what we see in this northern part of the country now should also tell a story that the subnational level, at that level, is not probably working well for the people. You see, when we talk about protest and all of these things, we just look at the federal government, the center. But the people, the condition of your people, the welfare of the people in the states should be the responsibility of the state government. Do you get it? Yes, the federal government affects everybody, but you find out that many state governments are shirking in that responsibility. Look at what is happening in Oyo State, for example.
Okay.
Oyo State also, there is protest in Oyo State. They went to the government house and all of that, but it is peaceful.
Yeah.
It shows the kind of people, the way you can engage with them. You see, we talk of engagement. You cannot engage with an illiterate.
They say the style is the man.
Yes, you cannot engage with people that are not, you don't send your children to school. Over 10 million people out of school children in Nigeria today, majority of them are domiciled in the northern parts of the country. So how do you engage with them? Avoidably. So whoever is behind that tells them, go and burn this place up, they will go and do it because they will not sit down to actually reason it out. That is the difference between them and us, and that is a responsibility for them to tackle.
Mayor, and this protest is supposed to run for 10 days. This is day one, and
yeah, I don't see it lasting for 10 days. They don't have the capacity to do that. You see, they don't have, I can tell you that, they don't have the capacity to do that. Why they were able to do that during the NSAS is different. The circumstances are different.
Okay.
During the time of NSAS, there are people that are angry that because of the activities of men of Special Anti-Robbery Squad, there are a lot of people. So when people now decided that, we want to end SARS, and they started congregating in some places, there are different interests. The people who are into Yahoo, the Yahoo boys, for example, who are not happy with how police used to harass them, were able to provide logistics to be able to sell.
Let me react to what I'm seeing on the screen. Kano, Borno, Yobe have declared 24-hour curfew.
Yes.
So
because
you expect
that's the reason for that. Yeah. In Borno, I can understand. In Borno had a security situation.
Okay.
Because of the terrorists and the Boko Haram thing. So because of this riot thing, the bombings and the Boko Haram people will be able to infiltrate and all that. So there is need for people to be at home so that the security forces can be on top of that. That is for Borno. But in Yobe and Kano, that's where you have actions. The local government in Yobe was attacked, and buses were burnt and all that. So there is need for that. In Kano, people that were looting and all that.
You see the list expanding?
Yeah, it's possible, but I think that the government, when you look at the other states, for example, when you look at Kaduna, a police officer was killed in Kaduna, but they'll be able to maintain, they'll be able to put, the security forces will be able to contain it. Yeah. So I don't see it expanding to those places, because there is in Katsina, but of course, apart from Katsina and Kaduna, and then maybe Nasarawa, in other parts of the north was not that on the level that you see in Kano or Yobe or Borno.
Bisi, so when the DSS warned or alerted us to the fact that it got intel that a thing like this might erupt, the DSS was not just crying wolf.
The DSS said nothing new. I don't see any big deal in that information they shared.
Okay.
Because if you talk of protest, even me, I'm not a member of DSS, and I knew that this kind of thing will happen. I've told you the factors, the conditions that will make this kind of thing to happen. You don't need any DSS reports for you to know that protests can be hijacked. And usually, when there are protests, there are different interests.
Okay.
So even if the people that are protesting, even if they think they have a reason for their protest, there are other interests that are trying to also achieve their own purpose through their protest, any day, any time. And that is why we talk about the elite being, the factors that determine what happens, even in protests in any part of the world. So for me, the DSS saying that there are sinister, maybe they got some info.
No, what they were saying was that they have intel that some people were going to infiltrate. And I think that is what happened in Borno.
It is not. It is
not the riots per se. I think that was like what happened in Borno. What they were saying was that they had some which happened because
some people were going to take advantage.
That they were going to infiltrate, that people, mercenaries from outside, who are these the Boko Haram, especially the ISWAP element, that they were going to use that opportunity to come in. But if you remember that recently there have been changes in Borno. They've been coming out, suicide bombing has started again, and then they've been attacking some places. So this is something that happened. They were able to infiltrate, and that was why Borno was the first to impose curfew. Borno was forced to impose curfew because they realized that it's not only protesters. Because if anybody is going to protest, it shouldn't be in Borno, because there is no governor that has provided palliatives to his people more than Governor Zulu. That is not in doubt. Nobody has provided palliatives to his people more than Governor Zulu. But like I said, because of their
as we usually would say here, if many governors behave like
Zulu, yes. So, but because of the secure situation that they have in that part of the country, the ISWAP elements were able to infiltrate the protesting, and there was bombing and
taking advantage.
Like so there was need for that 24-hour curfew. But my problem with the North is that it's not as if the people were against the government. Hunger is everywhere in the country.
Okay,
we have to accept that. Things are very, very difficult. We see it every day. So it's not only in the North, in the East, in the West, there's hunger everywhere. The only difference in this one is that the leadership and lack of it in some areas, that is what determines what happened in different states. In some states, there was no protest at all.
Like mine at
Yes, in some states in the South, there were no protests at all.
Cross River.
Even in Kogi State.
Yes, because that's what I'm saying, because there is hunger everywhere. That is not in doubt. Even the president acknowledges that. Acknowledges that, and every time the president says, I know what you are going through, I feel what you are going through, and we are working to solve that problem. So there is hunger everywhere. And so it's the same reason for the protests everywhere. But why you have it on different scale is because of leadership in those areas.
All right then. That will just about do it. Let the debate continue in your part of town. We have agreed. Let's underline it. Protestations are guaranteed by the Constitution. So be it. We'll go on a break now. Please come with us. We should be back very shortly. Come with us.